Homeschoolers of Maine is excited to continue its video series, Your Voice Matters, featuring voices from around Maine and around the country. I'm Angela Hurd, your host for this video series. Before we hear our next voice, I'd like to remind you to check out our Protecting Freedom page. On there, you'll find many resources. You'll find news, print and video resources, an interactive unit study titled Family and Freedom, an in-depth literature study featuring Animal Farm, Red Scarf Girl, 1984. You'll also find a page dedicated to homeschoolers and their poetry, music, and artwork, all depicting their ideas about the importance of protecting freedoms. And also we will have a page dedicated to our homeschooling families' veterans. Our next voice is Elizabeth Caruso. She's a homeschooling mom from Maine and a mother of two. She's also a small business owner, a 15-year select board chair, a whitewater guide, and also an engineer. Be encouraged as she speaks to us about many reasons to protect our freedom to homeschool, and also about the multitude of reasons that homeschooling is a great educational path for our children.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Caruso. My husband and I live in a small rural Maine town with our two sons who are 17 and 16, and we have homeschooled since day one. I am so grateful that I was there to see them learn and grow, making memories and enjoying our time together. Although my husband and I went to private and public schools, we knew right away that our children would be best served through homeschooling. Based on our rural location, atypical work schedule, and a commitment to moral teachings and academic excellence, homeschooling has delivered far-reaching rewards for our boys and our family. Clearly, a parent's choice to homeschool is hinged upon the freedoms we have as United States citizens. But who should decide what's best for your children? Well, no one knows your kids like you do. As a caring parent, you know exactly how they react physically, medically, emotionally, and mentally. The intricacies of their personalities and medical health have been your focus. They have unique interests, learning styles, and learning needs. Well, homeschooling allows us to take the time with each one and to be what each one needs at that time. Should the government be responsible to educate your children? In the developing years of life, it's the parent's job to care for their children into adulthood, to choose how their children will be educated, whether public, private, or homeschool. It is not the job of a government or public institution to parent or medically treat our children or mold their minds in morals, ethics, and worldviews. Children don't need to be institutionalized to be productive and successful. But the future of our nation is decided by whomever is shaping the hearts and minds of our children, as they are the next generation. Vladimir Lenin, who led the Bolsheviks, which is the Russian Socialist Democratic Labor Party, later known as the Communist Party, believed in the elimination of the capitalist system, and his strategy for indoctrination of the people heavily targeted children. He said, quote, "Give me 4 years to teach the children, and the seed I have sown will never be uprooted. Give us the child for 8 years, and it will be a Bolshevik forever." Who do you want shaping your children's minds? The Marxist left has accelerated their agenda and is using our schools to teach young people through critical race theory to hate America, punish white people, despise our freedoms, and embrace the destruction of our country. They are removing innocence from our children. Intercessors for America said that teaching even one child these divisive messages would verge on psychological abuse. Indoctrinating generations of children with these extreme ideas is not just immoral, but a program for national suicide. The New York Times described it as the re-education of the American people. Well, if you're concerned with safety in today's culture, your home is a very safe environment for your children to learn in freedom. Homeschooling allows children to learn and develop their own gifts. God has created each of us with unique gifts, talents, and abilities, and we need to allow our future workers, business owners, and problem solvers the freedom to be curious, think, create, discover, and to make mistakes safely. This is the American dream and the basis for our ingenuity. We weren't meant to be molded the same as everyone else. And not all children learn the same way or think the same way, and that's a good thing. In this day and age, safety at schools is in jeopardy. Our kids need a safe learning environment with no fear of hostility or mockery for having different ideas. to be able to educate them without segregation, intimidation, and indoctrination, and simply to have safe bathrooms for girls and all bathrooms free of animalistic behaviors. Many teachers are trying to train students into ways of thinking that are also not of the parents, and often topics that have nothing to do with education. We have seen teachers purposely undermine the views of parents, placing a wedge between the students and their parents, all based on a rogue curriculum. Teachers have no jurisdiction or inroads into shaping and medicating or indoctrinating the minds and worldviews of someone else's children. And certainly there is a concern that continued loss of our freedoms can impact our ability to homeschool. As it is right now, we are living in a day where rogue school boards are shutting down parents and stifling their voices, while school policies are threatening the jurisdiction of parents to parent and to protect their children from medical procedures or brainwashing. Once citizens start to relinquish their personal freedoms and privacy boundaries, the government's infringement will continue to escalate and citizens' awareness will be dulled and worn down. If school boards and unions and administrations can overstep state law, then they will overreach into the home, dictating what can or can't be taught. Certainly, though, on the bright side, homeschooling can make a difference in your community. We are mindful that we influence our children as we get involved in town and community activities. Then they will be a leader influencing their communities, job places, and friend circles. As I travel around Maine, visiting different political committees, I am noticing that those involved are middle to older in age. We need our younger adults, 20s and 30s, to be engaged in town, county, and state policies. We need them freedom-minded and knowledgeable in our US and state constitution to be boldly and confidently vocal, present, and engaged. Truth taught by parents, along with morals and ethics, empowers our children to walk as leaders in life. And certainly, a strong family unit is vital while resisting tyranny. Homeschooling protects the family foundation. We are close-knit and walk together. The children are home and they are part of our discussions, learning the decision-making process and how we stand up for ourselves, how to stand up for themselves when it's their turn. They are seeing strength and conviction modeled for them. When there is an overreaching government trying to challenge your belief system, privacy, or freedoms, it's important to have a unified base from which to stand. Our family knows why we think and choose the way we do and what the decision will mean for our family. It's important to keep in mind that we are not just teaching our children bookwork. We are shaping the next generation of competent adults, leaders, and parents. I'm training my sons to do all things with excellence, to stand for justice, help those in need, earn money, and be fiscally responsible, to make good decisions now as a practice for later in life. And I'm teaching them how to take care of themselves and the house for when they're living on their own. We want this next generation to be upstanding members of society, God-fearing and self-sufficient, not government-dependent. We want them to be our next great leaders. And in these times, we can resist the spirit of fear and live in hope. There is a peace that comes in knowing you are doing the right thing. Follow the Lord's leading, wisdom, and protection. The right way is not the easy way out or the path of least resistance. And in times, the right thing can be the harder thing to do. But the reward will be great. Seeing your children happy, peaceful, excelling, and successfully growing in their journey to adulthood is a parent's greatest joy. And homeschooling is different for everyone. It's never perfect, and it can be messy. But let your life be a testimony. Let people see the peace and joy in your home. My sons are a living testimony of the strengths of homeschooling. Strangers tell me how well behaved they are and how confidently they converse with adults looking them in the eye. They're well-spoken, kind, attentive, respectful, and polite. And when people realize my homeschoolers are taking college classes, have a strong work ethic, they realize, wow, homeschooling must work. And as a parent, it's important to realize that you are not alone and to find a support group. 11 years ago, we started a K-12 homeschool co-op in order to support parents and to give our kids a group class experience. We meet once a week, and the classes are chosen based on the needs of the students and willingness of parent teachers. It's a great way for homeschoolers to publicly read, speak, and present in front of classroom of peers. It's also a way to utilize the strength of the parents to teach classes that others may not feel strong in. And never believe that you are limited in what your kids can participate in. They can participate in school and rec sports. Our co-op even fielded a first LEGO League robotics team, which 2 years in a row earned state awards amongst a field of schools. We also fielded a destination imagination team, which competed at all national levels. As long as kids are interested and parents are willing, there is no reason why homeschool kids need to miss out on anything. And parents, you should definitely take advantage of useful resources. Aside from being part of a co-op or group, the resources of home and HSLDA have been indispensable. The annual convention is very helpful and encouraging, especially in the early years and when approaching high school. The vendor hall is a must, so you can lay your eyes and hands on various curricula and to see what would best suit your children. Used book events are also great because you can find great deals and can sell your used books. In most recent years, I have actually sewn our books to bless families who I know could really benefit it. Never underestimate freedom in homeschooling. Let their learning be peaceful and fun. Let them learn and grow in their inclinations. For my older son, he chose to teach himself stop motion animation at age 10. He then progressed to self-teaching 3D animation and modeling. The powerful software he was running caused his laptop to overheat. So when he was 16, he researched all the components to build his own computer. He has since built 3 other computers for people. All because I gave him the freedom and time to learn and pursue his interests. He'll be graduating this year with 11 college classes under his belt and a promising career ahead of him. In summary, the purpose of homeschooling is to educate freely at home, working through curricula which best meet the needs of your students and the parents through a schedule that best fits your family. The purpose of government is to protect our liberties. The Declaration of Independence specifically states that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Our government's purpose is to secure our rights, and that includes our rights to educate and to parent our children, the next generation of American leaders.